Now Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, Jacob and Esau, these are the two sons of Isaac, Ishaq. And Ishaq is the son of Abraham, as you know it. So all of them are the sacred people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Esau is the older brother, and the firstborn is thought to be the source of blessing, that your name continues with that. So Isaac becomes old, and he is about to die. So he calls his son Esau and says, go, get me a goat or get me some kind of hunting animal, bring it to me, and cook it, do whatever, and bring it to me so that I can bless you, so that my blessing, my prophethood continues through your progeny, your children, that you are the imam, you are the leader after me. Now, the mother Rebecca is listening what Isaac said to Esau, and she wants his younger son to be the imam, to be the leader, to be from whom the grace and dignity continues. So she says to him that your father said such and such to Esau. What I want you is, I want you to go bring that animal, slaughter the animal, and bring it and get the blessing before your brother comes. Now, Jacob says that Esau has got long hairs, his hairs are such and such. If my father will put the hand upon me, he will figure it out that I am not Esau, I am Jacob, and he will not bless me. She said, you do this one and I will do this one. Jacob goes, brings the calf or the goat or whatever, slaughters, and says, oh my father, I did exactly what you told me to do. And he says, okay. He goes to him, and Isaac, because he is blind, he puts his hand upon, Jacob's head and his body, and he says, you are not Esau. You seem to be Jacob, because Esau has got. He said, no, I swear to God, I am Esau. Or Esau, you can call it whatever. He said, no, he has got hair, his body is rough, and you. He says, I swear to God, I am your son, older son. So what happens? That he deceives, so he blesses, and this way, now the blessing comes to Jacob instead of to Esau, the older brother. Now the older brother comes and says, my father, Salaam alaikum, and I want your blessing. He says, I have already given the blessing, so you were not the one who came before. He said, no, I never came to you. He is begging. He said, no, I have already given the blessing. Now the leadership and all the blessings are through that person. And this person keeps on fighting with his brother, with his mother, with his father. But somehow Isaac cannot give the blessing, because once you give the blessing, you cannot give it to anybody else. So now the leadership is coming through the children of Jacob. What type of leadership is that which is based upon deception, deceiving your own father? What type of prophet is Jacob? This is the issue of morality. And this passage is quoted by means of many scholarly people, that if you can use deception for spirituality in the worldly affairs, using deception is not a big deal. In the Quran, the Esau is not even mentioned. Yeah. There is Ibrahim, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning just the prophets among the children. So it is God's blessing whomsoever he chooses to give the prophethood. So he does not mention the other children. For instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and mentions his brothers, but does not mention them in name, because they are not prophets. From our perspective, no, prophet will never deceive. He did not deceive, and prophet cannot be deceived on the spiritual issues. So here we are saying that the father who is a prophet got deceived, and the son who is a prophet and messenger deceived. Islam says no, never ever Jacob deceived, and never ever, the father Isaac got deceived. The prophethood, it is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whomsoever he blesses. I mean, he can, if the son of a prophet or a messenger is not good by himself or herself, even if the father prophet keeps on begging and yelling and screaming, God will not guide. If the son is capable, then God is going to bless that son. So from Islamic perspective, these are the issues of spirituality, blessings. They are not based upon somebody's gift and touching or not touching. This is the gift of God. And it is based upon morality and righteousness. The problem over here is that here it seems that this is something which is in the hand of an older father. He is going to give, and after he felt that he has been deceived, he cannot take it back. Because somebody is trying to say that the children of Jacob, they are superior than the children of Esau or Esau. Why? Because the blessing came to Jacob, not to Esau. Even though the children of Jacob, some people among them are deceiving, they are such and such. So somebody wants to prove their deception. My issue is the word of God, Bible. If you give an example of Jacob, who is one of the top-notch, figures. If he can achieve something so spiritual by means of deception, then for us, the weak people, it's not the issue of spirituality. It's the issue of worldly things. Quran is not looking at the persons, at the tribe, at the individual. Quran is there for principles, morality. Anybody who follows that principle is righteous. Anybody who disobeys that principle is non-righteous, whether the son of a prophet or a leader or nobody. Because over there the issue is not the person or the tribe or the blood or the lineage. It is the principle. And this is where I'm seeing the difference between the biblical passages sometimes and the Quranic sense of morality. Quran makes it clear that Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam's son is drowning, and it's not only that Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam is begging God. He is pleading till the last moment. And now, as the Quran says, that he said that, Innabni min ahli, my Lord, and remember one thing, if you go back to the Quranic terminology, you will be just amazed. Because the Prophet will not even ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something which he has not promised, which he has not permitted. Because God says, I will save your Ahl. So, Ahl could be family or the people who follow you. Everybody who is with you could be called Ahl. So, Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam thought that God promised to save my Ahl. So he said, Innabni min ahli. He did not say, oh God, save my son. He said, but you promised that you are going to save my people. And my son is one of my people. Wa anta ahkamul hakimin. And you are the best of the judges. He did not complain. And God same on the same spot. Ya Nuhu innahu laysa min ahlik. Innahu amalun ghayru salih. Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, he's not from your people because his actions are evil. وَإِنِّي أَعِذُكَ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. And I am warning you, don't be among the ignorant and start asking this kind of stuff. You imagine how strong is the warning just for asking something which is not reflection of morality. So that's what I'm saying. The Quran does not leave the room even for the next verse. Does the same thing in the same spot. Number one, in Judaism, the first authority is Bible. And among the Bible, Torah, that's where I went through it, the first authority is Torah. That's where when I quote, I mostly quote from Torah, so that nobody says you are quoting from secondary sources, number one. Number two, the oral Torah follows the written Torah. This is the Jewish rule. Jesus like Quran and then the Sunnah. Now, Midrash and Halakha is like Sirah and Tafsir and Fiqh. Nobody in the Jewish law would ever say that the Talmud takes precedent over Bible. No way. Torah came first. It was centuries before Talmud came. The question is, when a story comes and it is so clear, now the scholars are going to look at it and they are going to say why Isaac could not give the blessing to Jacob and he had to give it to Esau, because Esau must be something evil. Otherwise, why would God decide not to give it? So this is human interpretations of something which is in the Bible. Now, but I will quote you the other passages which praise Esau so much in the Talmud, in the Bible itself. And even Rebecca tells Jacob, Run away because your father may take the blessing away from you. Go to my brother. Read the text itself. It talks so much praiseworthy about Esau and Esau. That's where the father Isaac is giving the blessing to the son, older son, not to the younger son. Read this one. This is from Judaica, which is Encyclopedia Judaica. You know, it's something thought to be very precise and very authentic. That's where I'm just quoting it. It has been argued that the narrative of Lot and his daughters may be an indication of retributive punishment of Lot for offering his daughters to Sodomites in place of his visitors. Okay, you know what happens, that those people, they came and they wanted to take the males who were the guests of Lot, and according to Bible, Lot said, take my daughters and do with them what you want to do with the, okay. So because this is a punishment from God, that because he offered them his daughters, get some point? One should be protecting his daughters more than his guests. Now see the difference what the Quran says. Quran uses the same story, but how the Quran puts it. Ha'ulai banati adharuhunna lakum. These are my daughters, let me give you into nikah. Let me make them purify for you. You understand my point? So he is not saying do whatever you want to do. He's saying let me make them pure for you. So Quran gives the same story, that take them in marriage. If you cannot stop yourself from this kind of evil stuff, you can do the same thing in marriage. Here it is said because Lot said that take my daughters and do with them whatever you want, but don't touch my. So God punished him, and he did with his daughters what? Okay, he did not like. Okay, now just as he had allowed the claims of courtesy to transcendent morality, so his daughters permitted their concern for the propagation of the species to outweigh the laws of incest. Is it clear? As he put courtesy, which is courtesy to the guest, over morality, so his daughters put what? The need over morality. Because there's no children from them, so they need it. So that's where they allowed incest for the sake of what? Need. Okay. Yet, although offensive as Lot's offer may be to modern readers, the fact is that fathers had disposition over their daughters to the extent that they could even sell them into slavery. So this is the explanation, that even what Lot did may look bad to us, but according to Bible, and I go Exodus 21:7. Can you go Exodus 21:7? He says that what Lot did was not something wrong, because according to Bible, the father has got the right to sell his daughters. So if he is giving them as a gift, there's no problem. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maid servant, she shall not go out as the maid servants do. If she pleases not her master, who hath brothered her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. So what is saying, that if a father sells his daughter to be the maid servant, she should not go like the male servants and then disobey the master. Do exactly what he says. The only thing he cannot do is to sell her to another nation other than Israelite. With the Israelites, he can sell her. I mean, if the father can sell her daughter into slavery, then he can give them as a gift. You understand my point? So that's where Lot did not do. And then what he says is, according to rabbinic law, a father could marry his daughter to a man who is disfigured and has got boils, see Ketuvim 9b. That's fine. In addition, the narrator does not condemn the actions of the woman.